Well, hello everyone, welcome back. And today we're going to be learning about the great mitzvah. It's called the super mitzvah, the commandment that Abraham, our forefather, got, which was to circumcise himself at the age of 99 years old. Before that, Abraham kept the entire Torah, but he did not circumcise himself until the Creator told him to, and that is considered the great mitzvah. So we're learning here this book called Torah, or by the founder of Chabad, Rabbi Shneur Zalman Liadi, in the passage, page 13 in the Hebrew, or 20 in the English, plus one. The pages are kind of weird, it says really 25. But the parts are, so in the Torah we're learning about the Lech Lecha, the passage that talks about Abraham going out from his land, his birthplace, to the land of Israel. And it talks about the eternal right of the Jewish people to the land of Israel, because it was given to Abraham, who was the ancestor of the Jewish people. And specifically within Abraham, it was given to only Isaac and Jacob, as the Torah talks about throughout the book of Genesis. But anyways, at this part, we're talking about how Abraham got a circumcision when he was 99 years old. And that was very intense. As we're going to see some questions. But the verse, hopefully one day we'll get the website that has English and Hebrew, but right now we'll just do Hebrew and I'll translate it. But the verse in the parsha says, in the essence of this day, meaning in the middle of the day, Nimol Avraham was circumcised in the middle of the day. So, Havin Hakushya, so to understand the question, Shnei Zikar as mentioned in books, it says, so why did Abraham not circumcise himself before the Creator commanded him to do so? Because really, as we're going to see, because he already kept the entire Torah before it was given. Even rabbinic commandments that were made later, he still knew about them, and he kept them. So the point is that Abraham somehow knew about the entire Torah, even before it was given to us. So if he knew what the commandments of the Torah would be, as it says in a different verse that Abraham kept all of the Creator's Torahs and laws, etc. So we know that Abraham knew about the Torah, and he kept almost all of it before it was even commanded. But he still did not circumcise himself until he was actually commanded to by the Creator. So the point is that even though he wasn't commanded to do a lot of other stuff, he did it on his own because he heard some traditions about it. But even though he knew about the concept of circumcision, apparently, but he still did not do it until he was commanded to do it by the Creator. The simple reason, as it's explained as elsewhere, is because someone is not allowed to hurt themselves. They're not allowed to cut their own skin. So if he would give himself circumcision without being commanded to, then that would be considered self-harm, which was forbidden. It says that's considered spilling the blood of oneself, which people were forbidden to do at that time. But when he was later commanded to do it by the Creator, then the Creator himself could override those rules at that time. But Abraham on his own did not have the ability to override that legality of not being able to harm oneself. That's the simple reason why Abraham did not do it before. But here it's talking about a deeper reason why Abraham did not circumcise himself before he was commanded. So to understand this, so we need to understand first Inyan Hamila, the idea of circumcision. What is circumcision in the Kabbalistic books? Tehine Ksiv, it's written, Lo Bashamayim hi lemor miyala lanu hashamayma. The Torah, it says in the book of Deuteronomy, the Torah is not in the heavens, such that people would say, oh, who's going to go up to the heavens to take the Torah for us? Meaning, this is Moses was telling the Jewish people when he was giving a covenant of the Torah. He said, you might think that the Torah is really far away and you have to go somewhere else to get it, and maybe you would think the Torah is like in outer space or something, and if it was, then they would have to build ladders to go all the way to outer space. But no, really, the Torah is not in the heavens; it's on the earth, and it's very close to each and every one of us. But the verse that talks about how the Torah is really close, it says, "Oh, the Torah is not in the heavens, because it's not in the heavens such that someone else would say, who is going to go up to the heavens to bring it back to us? Because if the Torah was in the heavens, then we would actually have to go to the heavens to get it. But no, the Torah is on the earth. But the point is, the verse says, who will go up for us to the heavens to get it? And those are the Rosh Tevis Mila. If you take the first Hebrew word of each of those words, this is a verse from the Book of Deuteronomy. If you take the first Hebrew letter from each of those words, who will go up for us to the heavens, that spells out Me'ilah, which is circumcision in Hebrew. So the first letters of those words of who will go up for us to the heavens spells out the Hebrew word for circumcision. So that is related. So that means that the idea of circumcision is related to the idea of the heavens, because the verse says, who will go up to the heavens? And if you take the first letter of each of those words, it spells out the Hebrew word for circumcision. So that implies that there's a deep connection between the idea of circumcision and the heavens, as it's going to say. V'sofa tevis havaya, and it's the end word, the end letters spell out Hashem's name. Meaning, if you take the first letter of each of the words, it spells out the Hebrew word for circumcision. But if you take the last letter of each of those words, it spells out. If you read Hebrew, it spells the name of the Creator. The Creator has a special four-letter name called the ineffable name, or the tetragrammaton in contemporary terminology. It's a special four-letter name that can never be pronounced or said. Very holy name of the Creator. It has 4 letters, and those 4 letters are encoded in this verse. That in the verse in Deuteronomy it says, "Who will go up for us to the heavens?" If you take the last letter of each of those words, it spells out the name of the Creator. So, if you take the first letter of each of the words of the verse, "Who will go up for us to the heavens?" it spells out the Hebrew word for circumcision, milah in Hebrew. But if you take the last letters of each of those words, it spells out the name of the Creator. So that implies that the idea of circumcision, which is taken from the first letters, is, so to speak, even greater than the name of the Creator. So we're going to see how that works. And not only that, but because it's encoded in the Torah, in the verse, "Who will go up for us to the heavens?" it implies that there's a connection between the heavens and circumcision. So let's see what it says exactly. The ha'inyan, and the idea is, Tehine, behold. Techila kasiv, but at first, this is a quoting from the Book of Deuteronomy in the Torah. So at first, before it says, "Who will go up for us to the heavens to get the Torah," at first it says, "Umaltemes arlas levavechem." Moses is telling the Jewish people a metaphorical idea of accepting the Torah. It says, "You shall," quote, "circumcise your heart." Obviously, circumcision does not apply to the heart, medically speaking. But when Moses was telling the Jewish people the covenant to accept the Torah, he metaphorically told them to circumcise their hearts, which means to remove all of the foreign things that they like to do with their heart, and rather only focus on the Creator. So that's the idea of circumcising the heart, removing all of the other external things that one's heart may go to, and instead only focusing on the Creator. So this is what it says in the Book of Deuteronomy: "You shall circumcise your heart." And it's also written in a different verse, "And Hashem will circumcise your heart. Okay, so there's a few different verses. First of all, in the book of Deuteronomy, Moses is telling them that the Torah is very close to you. It's not in the heavens, because if it was in the heavens, we would actually have to go to the heavens to get it. And in that context, it says, who will go up for us to the heavens to get it? No, if it says it's not in the heavens, such that one would say, who will go up to the heavens to get it? Because it's on earth. And the beginning letters of each of those words in Hebrew, who will go up to us for the heavens, spells out the Hebrew word for circumcision, which is milah. And the last letter of each of those words spells out the name of the Creator. So that implies that circumcision is related to the heavens, and circumcision is also greater than the name of the Creator. Then a couple other verses say, first, where Moses is telling them with prophecy that he's telling each of the people that they should circumcise their hearts, which means to remove all of the not good things that they would like to do, which is with their heart. But then a third verse says that it's not saying that they should circumcise their hearts, but that Hashem, the Creator, will circumcise the hearts for them. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Pirish Sheish Beis Bechinos Mila. So again, one verse in the book of Deuteronomy says that it's like a commandment, like you should try to like circumcise your heart, which means to get rid of all the things that other external things someone might want to do. But then the other verse doesn't say that you should do it. It says that Hashem, the Creator, should do it automatically. So based on that, it says that there's really two levels. Beis Bechinos Mila. There's two levels of circumcision. Ha'achas hi milamata lamaila. One level of circumcision, which also includes the metaphorical idea of circumcising the heart, which is removing all the foreign desires from oneself to only desire the Creator. So there's two ways of doing that. One way is from below to above, something that's based on our own efforts from below, which is us. And then once we do it from below, then it affects above. It's tzrichim that we actually need, anu, that we need, lemul es alas halev. We actually need to do the work of removing the extra things from the heart. V'hu inyan hateshuva. And what does it mean to remove the extra desires of the heart? That means to do teshuva, to return to the Creator, which happens a lot of different ways. Like it says, V'shav ta'ad havaya elokecha. It says, you shall return to Hashem, your power. And how do we return to the Creator? It's through Bekium Torah umitzvos. The way that we return to the Creator is by actually doing the Torah instructions and the commandments of the Torah. So that's one metaphorical circumcision of the heart, which means the idea that we have to take an active role to return to the Creator, and then that will cause us to only want the Creator. The Amar Razal and the rabbis said in the Talmud that Im Yisrael osin teshuva nigalin. If Israel will do teshuva, if Israel will return to the Creator, then they will be redeemed. Bimlav enigalin. But if not, they will not be redeemed. V'achar kibbutz galius. And after, the Jewish people will all be gathered back to the land of Yisrael forever, which is what's gonna happen when Moshiach comes. So after that happens, Kasiv, it's written, V'haviyacha el haaretz. It says in another verse, I will bring you to the land, V'heitivecha chelu, and I will do good to you. When the Creator brings us to the land of Israel, He will do good to us. Basically, that happens through returning to the Creator. V'hu hamila shalamayla lamata. So again, first we have to return to the Creator, which is the idea of the circumcising the heart, which is the idea of only wanting the Creator and nothing else. And that is an active thing that we actually have to do from our own efforts. That's called the circumcision, metaphorically, from below to above, because it's based on the active roles that we take. And then it says, when that happens, then we will be redeemed when Moshiach comes. When we return to the Creator through doing the Torah and the commandments, then we will be redeemed. But then it says, when we are redeemed, then the Creator will do good to us by redeeming us. Essentially, the cause, that which causes us to be redeemed, is the actual returning to the Creator through the Torah and the commandments. But once we actually return to the Creator, then the Creator is going to redeem us from the exile and bring everyone, all the Jews, back to the land of Israel forever. And that's going to be when Moshiach comes. And that's what it says in another verse. It says, He will gather you and do good to you. So that idea of the Creator gathering us and doing good to us and redeeming us as a result from our actions, that's the second type of metaphorical circumcision, which is from above to below. So again, two different types. One verse says, you should circumcise your hearts, which implies only wanting the Creator, which is done through returning to the Creator. But then a different verse in Deuteronomy says that Hashem will circumcise the hearts, which is talking about after we return to Him on our own, then Hashem will gather us from the exile. And that's the second type, from above to below. So let's see what else it says. This is Hitivacha me'avasecha. That's what it, so when the Creator gathers us, it says He will do good to you, even greater. I think it means He will do even greater good to you than He did to your forefathers. Pretty sure. Like it says in the book of Psalms, Bechinas marav tuvecha asher tzafanta. Like it says in the book of Psalms regarding the redemption, it says, how great is your goodness that you have hidden away for those who fear you. So there's an idea of goodness of the Creator, which has never been revealed. It's hidden, and it says in the book of Psalms, how great is your goodness that you have hidden for those who fear you. So this is the idea of the second metaphorical circumcision, which is the idea of the Creator redeeming us from the exile and doing good to us and giving us this great goodness, which has never been before. It's only hidden away. Like it says, Moshe shenolad mahu. Now we're talking about some other things, which is kind of related. Because, I'm not sure what because is talking about. But somehow this is related to, because Moses, who was born circumcised, it says that Moses was born, he was already circumcised when he was born. They didn't actually have to do anything besides maybe some other stuff. But he already had circumcision when he was born, so he didn't actually have the efforts. But he was born circumcised. Ksiva says, V'tira oso kitov hu chulu. I see. So the verse that talks about when the Creator will gather us from the exile and do good to us, and the other verse from the book of Psalms that says, how great is your goodness that you have hidden for those who fear you. He's saying that the word good in Hebrew also implies circumcision, the same energy as circumcision, because it says when Moses was born, it says that they saw him, that he was good. What do you mean that they saw him when he was good? One explanation somewhere else says that when Moses was born, the entire house that he was born in was filled with miraculous light of the Creator, because when the Creator made the light, it says that he saw the light, that it was good. So the word good could imply light. But a different explanation in the Talmud says that when they saw Moses that he was good when he was born, that means that they saw that he was born already circumcised. So the idea of circumcision and the energy of that is associated with the Hebrew word good. So when it says in the other verse that when Hashem will do good to you when he gathers you from the exile, that implies the idea of the metaphorical circumcision, which is removing the foreign desires people have, which happens from above to below, after our initial efforts of returning to him. So there's two levels of circumcision, both metaphorically and literally. There's the efforts that we do on our part to return to the Creator, and then by doing the Torah and the mitzvahs, and that removes all of the foreign things from our heart. And then that's from below to above, because it's from us. Then there's a second level, which it says, and Hashem will circumcise your hearts, which is the idea of after we return to the Creator, then the Creator will redeem us and bring all the Jews back to Israel forever, where their eternal land. And then it says that he will do good to you, and the word good implies circumcision as well, and that's from above to below. So it's like a different response. That means to say that the first level of circumcision, that's from above to below. The first level can make sense. The first level, that's from below to above. He asarusa de la sata. The first idea of us returning to the Creator, the first metaphorical circumcision, is the idea of an awakening from below, which means like when we approach the Creator on our own without being inspired from something else. It's because we want to approach the Creator from our own will, and we take the active effort to actualize that will, but not because of external forces or external motivations. So that's the first circumcision, like it says. And the awakening from above, who hagiloi who bechinas umal Hashem es l'ravach. And then after, which is Hashem will circumcise your heart. So after we return to the Creator, which is an awakening from below, then in response to that, there's an awakening from above, where the Creator responds to us with Hashem will circumcise your heart, basically. So a lot of things going on. Basically, we approach the Creator, then after we approach him on our own, then he does good to us from above to below. Almila shnia hazos. Behold, regarding this second level of the circumcision, sheyihiyeh li'achar kibbutz galius. And this second level of the circumcision that it says in the book of Deuteronomy, that is the goodness that the Creator will give us after he gathers us to the land of Israel. So regarding that second level, it says, where does it say it even? L'achar kiyum haTorah kula. And after we've fulfilled the entire Torah, I guess implying in the times of Mashiach, when we keep all the laws of the Torah, Ksiva says, so finally, after we've done everything, meaning after we fulfill the Torah in the ultimate way, when Messiah comes, when all the laws of the Torah will come back like they were before, and will already be gathered back in Israel forever. So after all that, then the verse in Deuteronomy applies, where it says, who will go up for us to the heavens? Which, again, that was kind of meant to, like, not literally a question, but saying the Torah is not in the heavens, such that one would say, oh, who will go up to the heavens to get it for us? But now it's just bringing those four words of the verse out of context. Let's see if it means something else, maybe. But it says, after we'll be gathered from the exile, and after Mashiach will come, then it says, regarding that, the verse says, who will go up for us to the heavens? Which is kind of its own idea, I guess. Rosh Tevis Mila. And again, as mentioned, if you take the first letters of each of those words, in Hebrew, it spells out the Hebrew word Mila, which means circumcision. So there's some connection between going up to the heavens and circumcision. And that idea of the circumcision, metaphorically, that's the energy of that will be, which will be after the Mashiach comes. It says that is like a certain energy that's beyond the Torah, even. Like it says, Ki al HaTorah Nemar, because regarding the Torah, it says, lo bashamayim he, because the Torah is not in the heavens anymore. After the Creator revealed himself to this world, he took the Torah from the heavens and put it down into the earth, in the physicalized world. So the Torah is not in the heavens anymore, at least. But the idea of circumcision, like it says in the verse, who will go up for us to the heavens, implies that it is in the heavens even now. And we'll see about what that's even talking about. Hinishpelis lamata. The Torah nowadays is thrown downwards from the heavens to the earth, because this is where the Torah is kept and fulfilled, in the physical earth. So the Torah goes down to the earth, lamata davka. Specifically, the Torah is only down. The Torah is no longer in the heavens. So therefore, as a side note, it says in the Talmud that one time some rabbis were arguing about what the law should be, and then one rabbi said, like, oh, the majority were saying one thing, but then one minority rabbi was saying, like, oh, if the law is like me, then it should be like announced from the heavens. And then it says a voice actually called out from the heavens and said, hey, listen to this guy. So maybe if different religions would say, oh, a voice cut off from the heavens, so that implies that the heavens is trying to tell us what to do, so we should listen. But no, not in the Torah, because the Torah law is not in the heavens anymore. Once it was given to earth, the Torah, there are certain rules about it, how to decide the law, and those rules in the Torah was only given to the earth and to the rabbis, and it says to follow the majority. So they had to follow the majority, and they did not listen even to this divine voice from the heavens, because the heavens have no legal effect on the Torah anymore. The Torah will never be changed from the heavens ever, because the Torah is not in the heavens, and the authority of the Torah is only on the earth, so it can never be changed from the heavens. The point is that the Torah is not in the heavens because it specifically goes down below. It's drawn down below specifically. Ukenizkar the Gemara, like it says in the Talmudic literature. Sha'amar Rabbi Yehoshua, Rabbi Joshua said, Ein mashgi. Oh, I just happened to quote that from my own head, but this exact passage of the Talmud is being quoted here. It says, Ein mashgichin bebas kol. This is quoting that story of the Talmud I just told you, that it says there was a bunch of the majority of rabbis saying one thing, and then one minority saying, oh, if the law is like me, then there should be a voice from the heavens that calls out and says the law is like me. But no, this guy named Rabbi Yehoshua says, we don't listen to a voice. Even if it's a true voice from a real angel, which is speaking on behalf of the quote-unquote heavens, which is officially the word of the Creator. But no, the Creator himself even does not have any legal rights over the Torah anymore, because he gave the Torah to the earth. And that, since the Creator is infinite, he can also put a limitation on himself. So the Torah is on the earth only, not in the heavens anymore, because we don't listen to voices. Even if this is one of the reasons why we know that other religions are false, because a lot of other religions could say, oh, maybe the Torah was true before, but then some new prophet came along and got a new revelation from the Creator. But no, impossible, because even the Creator himself has no authority over the Torah anymore, because the Creator gave the Torah to the rabbis and to the earth. So the Torah can never be changed, not even if the Creator wanted to. He can never change it. So we don't listen to a voice from the heavens. HaTorah b'shamayim. The Torah is not in the heavens at all. Ki'im lamata hemena. Rather, the Torah is beneath the heavens. V'nikras Toras Havaya. And it's called, so it's beneath the heavens, but the Torah is still called the Torah of the Creator, uses the name of the Creator. The Torah of Hashem, which is the name of the Creator. Ki, because Shem Havaya, because the name of Havaya, the name of the Creator, the ineffable four-letter name called Havaya in Hebrew, which is starts out with the Hebrew letter Yud, which is just a little dot like that, and that represents Tzimtzum. The first letter of the Hebrew name represents a contraction. And then after that first letter, there's a second letter called the Hey, right here. And you can see the first letter, Yud, is small. I need to get a better pointer instead of my fingernails. No offense. The first letter, Yud, is actually small. You can see. You can still see. I haven't actually. Some people do hand modeling, I guess, but I haven't actually focused on hand modeling, so my nails are kind of not exactly photocentric, but whatever. So the first letter of the name is a Yud. Then, which is the smallest letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So that represents a tzimtzum, that represents a contraction, meaning first, the name of the Creator represents the idea of the divine light going through a certain system represented by the name. So the light of the Creator first gets processed with a tzimtzum, with a contraction and a concealment, which is represented by the smallness of the letter Yud, because it's just a tiny little dot. And after that, the second letter of Hashem's name is a Hey, which is one of the biggest letters, because it goes out. You can see, this is a little blurry. The letter Hey right here. Oh man, how do you even focus on this? Okay, this letter Hey is the biggest letter. So that represents first the light contracts, but after it contracts, then it expands again. His pashtus, it expands out. And then after the third letter is the letter Vav, which is just like a straight line going from above to below, with it being thicker on top, and then it goes as a line. That's the third letter of the name, and that's Hamashacha. So after the light gets contracted, then it expands to a lower level of expansion, and that expansion is then drawn down by the third letter of the Creator's name, which is a Vav, which is Hamshacha, which is pulling down that energy from above to below. And then the last letter expands it again. But the point is something that we're going to say maybe. Shali Deizeh, through this system of the light being contracted and then expanded and then drawn down and then expanded again, through this, Nimshecha Lamata, then the light of the Creator is ultimately drawn down below, even into the physical world. Because first it goes contracted, expanded, drawn down, expanded again to a lower level. So the idea of the name, the whole idea of the name of the Creator, the ineffable name, which can never be pronounced until Moshiach comes, the Kabbalistic idea of the name is drawing from above to below, to take things that are high up and bring them down. Because the first letter is concealment, meaning like concealing something that's really great, which is the light of the Creator. The light itself is really great at first. It's like extremely infinite, can't be contained by anything. But the first letter contracts that light and hides it to a limited point form, which is represented by the first letter, Yud, which is a point. Then, after it's contracted to a point, then a second level of that light, which is like a lower level of that light, which has been already contracted, that can expand. But it's not expanding to the same level it was before, but it's expanding to a lower level that can be grasped more. But it can be grasped, technically, it's still lower, but then after it expands, then it's the third letter of the name is a line that goes from above to below, that it draws down that expanded form into an even lower level. And then after it's drawn down to an even lower level, which contracts it even more, then it expands a second time to an even lower level than all the other ones. So that's the whole idea of the ineffable name of the Creator, the four-letter name, is to take something that's high up and bring it downwards, which is metaphorically talked about as an analogy of a teacher to a student, that really a teacher could understand a really lofty idea in his own mind. But then in order to actually explain it simply, there has to be a process of first contracting it, meaning first get rid of it entirely and only keep the main point of the idea, which is the point of the letter Yud, which is just a point. Then after you get that point, you expand it, meaning you don't expand it to the original idea, but you expand it by explaining that point with analogies and other examples. And then after you're able to expand it, or actually, I think the first expansion is within the teacher's own mind. The teacher has to just expand upon that point, and with I'm not sure exactly if it means with analogies or examples or with other stuff, but then the point is then eventually the idea is drawn down even lower, and then even more whatever. But the point is, it's the idea of a teacher taking an idea and drawing it down. So to the creator, the name of the creator is like a computer that is whose job is to take this high energy and contract it so that it can give life to this universe. Anyway, the point is that the name of the creator, the ineffable name, is the idea of going from above to below, going downwards. But Aval, however, Mila, but circumcision, Haniz Kalel, this idea of the circumcision, I guess, of the future, when after Mashiach comes, the Maila Mishem Havaya, it's beyond this name. Ad Shehi Berosha Tevis Shem Havaya Hiu Besofa Tevis. Because you said that the metaphorical idea of the circumcision is actually in the heavens, which is greater, while the Torah, and I guess it's implying the name of since the Torah is the Torah of Hashem, and the name Hashem is lower, and the Torah is not in the heavens, so that's a lower level. But in the verse it says, "Who will go up for us to the heavens?" It says that the first letters of those words spells out the Hebrew word milah, circumcision, but the last letter of those words spells out the name of the Creator. That implies that circumcision is even greater than the name of the Creator, because the name of the Creator is meant to draw things downwards and conceal them. Well, I guess it's going to say circumcision is the revelation that's greater than concealment. Where are we? Yeah, because the word milah, the word circumcision, is in the beginning words of the verse, "Who will go up first to the heavens," while the name of Havaya is in the end of the words, "Al Kain," and therefore, he mi bechinas umadregas ha-shamayma. The circumcision itself is from the heavens, or is in the heavens, so to speak, but the Torah is not in the heavens. So that's why the circumcision is even greater than the Torah in a certain way. And the circumcision is beyond the Torah. Because the Torah was drawn down below, to a low level. The Torah was brought beneath the heavens, Elu, but beneath these heavens, apparently different kinds of heavens. For all zeh, and regarding this, Amru Rabbeinu Zichron Levacha, the rabbis of the Talmudic era said that Gedola Mila Shenichsu Aleha Shlosh Brisos. How great is the idea of the circumcision, because there were 13 covenants that were established about it. I think this is the book of Deuteronomy, probably, maybe. Pirish, what does that mean? Gedola Mila Hi Bechinas Hamila HaGedola. When it says how great is circumcision, it's referring to this level, I guess like a metaphysical level of the great circumcision, which is from above to below, which that's talking about after Mashiach comes, when the Creator gathers the Jewish people back to the land of Yisrael and does good to them with a goodness that's never existed before. As we said earlier, that's the metaphorical circumcision from above to below. So that's why the Talmud says the greatness of circumcision, because it's referring to the greatness of what's going to happen in the future. The Tamei mitzvahs, okay. And that future metaphysical circumcision is Sheyamol Hashem es levavcha. Well, that's the verse in Deuteronomy that says that Hashem will circumcise your heart to remove all the foreign desires of the heart. And that's something that the Creator will do. Therefore, nichasa b'yud gimel brisos. Therefore, the commandment of circumcision that we have now, I guess, is connected to that idea somehow in the future. And there was 13 covenants that were established regarding circumcision. Pirish, what does it mean? Kidu, like it's known. She'inyan hakrisus, the idea of so it says there was 13 covenants that were made regarding circumcision that it says in the Torah, but the word that it uses in the Talmud to describe the covenants, it says there were 13 covenants that were cut on it, which is kind of like a pun, because circumcision is about cutting. So there's 13 covenants that were cut, like when you cut a deal or something. What does it mean, the krisus, the cutting? Bris, who, what is the idea of the cutting of the circumcision, of the covenant? Who, the maila min haseichel. The idea of making a covenant is something that's beyond intellect. If something makes sense intellectually to do, then there's no reason to make a covenant for it. But the idea of making a covenant for something is if the thing is really beyond understanding. And the only way you would do it is because of the covenant. The hadas and the knowledge. Al derech, like it says, beis ohavim, two people who love each other. She'osim krisas bris, and those two people make a covenant between each other. Lihios ohavim imzed, in order that they would love each other, meaning like even if they would have intellectual reasons to later hate each other, but they love each other now. So like, okay, we're gonna make sure this love stays. So we're gonna make a promise, a covenant to like always love each other, kind of thing. So that's the idea of the promises or a covenant. Tanu sheyuchrach lios. That means the covenant forces it that it should be ohavo. That it's like the covenant like forces one to love each other in that case. Afim lo haya nimshach eslo avazo elav. Even if they wouldn't have loved each other without that. Afterwards, mitzad haseichel, because of intellect. Meaning, at the current moment, they love each other, and they realize, okay, intellect could maybe get in the way and convince us not to love each other. So we're going to make a promise now, such that even at a later time, if we don't intellectually understand why we should love each other, but because of the covenant that forces the love should exist. So that's the idea of cutting a covenant, which is a similar idea of the covenant of the circumcision, as you can say, which is also cutting. Nevertheless, through the covenant, one forces oneself to love the other in a way that's beyond intellect and knowledge and awareness. And so too, in order that we should have a revelation and a drawing down of the great circumcision energy at the future time when the Creator will gather the exiled people of Israel, and his Galil, Shu Bechinas Marav Tivchachulu. And this circumcision metaphorically is alluded to in the book of Psalms, where it says, "How great is your goodness that you have hid away for those who fear you," which is the greatest that's ever been revealed before. Hu al yedei Yud Gimel Midos Arachamim. So it says that the idea of the circumcision had 13 covenants, and really a connection to those 13 covenants is the idea of 13 attributes of divine mercy. Basically, when the Jewish people sinned with the golden calf in the times of Moses, Moses prayed for them on their behalf. And then the Creator told him, okay, I'm going to forgive them, and I'm going to tell you a secret of forgiveness, that there's 13 ways that the Creator forgives people. Like, he's abounding in kindness, slow to anger, a lot of other stuff. The point is that the Creator told Moses these 13 ways, how he forgives people. It says anytime these 13 ways are mentioned, then it's like he will automatically forgive. So there's a connection between these 13 ways the Creator forgives people and these other 13 covenants that circumcision was established on, which are mentioned elsewhere. So this is like a deeper meaning kind of thing. So these 13 other covenants of the circumcision are associated with the 13 ways that the Creator forgives people. And the idea of forgiveness is beyond intellect, because intellect would say, okay, why should I forgive someone if they did something bad? But no, the idea of mercy and forgiveness is something that's beyond intellect. So this idea of the Creator forgiving people with 13 ways is connected to the 13 covenants of circumcision, because both of those ideas, forgiveness and the circumcision, is like a beyond intellect kind of thing. V'haseichel in intellect. And therefore, therefore, because the circumcision is the covenant that's beyond intellect, it's beyond the name of the Creator, because the name of the Creator, even the beginning of the name of the Creator, is intellect. The other parts of the name are like emotions and stuff, but the first letter of the name represents divine intellect. But the circumcision is beyond even divine intellect, because it's the idea of the covenant, and a covenant is beyond intellect. And it's even beyond Torah. Because the 13, just like the 13 ways that the Creator forgives people, are beyond the Torah. Because the Torah says, do this and don't do that, with all kinds of punishments. But if someone does not keep the Torah, then they can be forgiven with these 13 ways that the Creator forgives people. So that means that those 13 methods of forgiveness are beyond the Torah, because since they're beyond the Torah, they have the ability to forgive someone for transgressing the Torah and to fix the blemishes that were done in the Torah. So just like the 13 ways of forgiveness are beyond the Torah because they atone for the Torah, so too the idea of circumcision, which is the idea of the 13 covenants, which are related to the 13 methods of forgiveness, and both of them being beyond both of them are essentially beyond intellect. So the circumcision itself is also the covenant that's beyond the Torah in a certain way. The Hine, behold, in this idea we can understand Inyan Avraham came kol haTorah kula ajlo nishna, that Abraham Abraham basically knew about and fulfilled all of the laws of the Torah even before they were given. They were given at Mount Sinai when the Creator revealed Himself. Mount Sinai told the commandments to Moshe, to Moses, and the Jewish people in the desert. But really, the Torah was known about since the beginning of time. It says in another place that the proof for that, basically a few different proofs. But in the flood of Noah, it says that the Creator told Noah to take 7 pure animals, meaning kosher animals. 7 of each, 7 pairs of each, 7 pairs, of each kosher animal. But the only way Noah would know which animals are kosher means that he would have to actually learn about the laws of kosher, because kosher animals are very intricate laws. So, partially based on that verse and other things, it says that Noah actually learned about the Torah. And there's also a midrash that says that Noah actually learned hundreds of chapters of the Talmud from his grandfather Methuselah, which was even before Mount Sinai, obviously, before the flood, and implying, I guess Methuselah must have learned it from Adam. It doesn't say, but kind of implied. So and then the Torah was known, and then it says Noah had a son, Shem, and who had, I think, a grandson named Aver, and then they had a school where they would teach the people the Torah laws, even before it was known from Moses, because it was already known to a certain extent. So Abraham was a student of Noah's son, Shem, and Abraham learned about the Torah laws, and he even kept the Torah laws before they were given, believe it or not. And that's what it says in a different verse, that, Abraham kept my Torah and my commandments, even though what Torah, what commandments? Because there's no Torah yet. But no, there was, because they still learned about it. But the thing is that Abraham was 99 years old when the Creator told him to circumcise himself. And the thing about circumcision is that you can only do it once. So since he did it then at 99, that means that he did not do it before, even though he kept the entire Torah beforehand. So the question is, if he kept the entire Torah before on his own, based on what he learned already, so why did he also not circumcise himself before? It's a question. And we mentioned earlier, the simple meaning is because one is not allowed to harm themselves. One is not allowed to cut one's own skin, because it says in the passage of Noah, it says one should not spill his own blood, which simply means murder as well. But also just spilling blood, meaning even just cutting oneself, is a total prohibition in the Torah law. So circumcision is cutting someone because that's what the Creator commanded us to do. So the Creator can override His own commandments and make exceptions, but we on our own cannot make our own exceptions to the law. So when Abraham was fulfilling the entire Torah, he was doing that because that's something that he wanted to do to get closer to the Creator at the time. It was not something that he was required to do, and he was not commanded to do it. So therefore, it did not have the power to override actual prohibitions where the Creator put in place. But then, when he was 99 years old, finally the Creator is the one who commanded him to do it and gave him the extra power to do that. That's a simple meaning. But now we're talking about a deeper reason, a deeper Kabbalisticalized reason of why Abraham did not circumcise himself before, which is in addition to the simple meaning that's mentioned in other books. In this we'll understood Inyan Shel Avram, this the idea that Abraham Kiyem Kol HaTorah Kula, the idea that Abraham did the entire Torah Aj Lo Nitzna, until it was not given. Even before the Torah was given, Abraham did the entire Torah. But he did not do the commandment of circumcision at that time. Because, so this is a deeper reason, because Shiratza L'Hagia Le'osa Mila Gedol, he wanted to reach the energy of the great circumcision, which is the idea, which is going to be mainly revealed after Moshiach comes, after the Creator gathers the Jewish people from the exile to the land of Israel and does a great good to them. But Abraham, even at that time, even before the Jewish people were born, he still wanted to reach that level of the great circumcision, which is going to happen after Mashiach comes, which is from above to below. And therefore, Kiyem Kol HaTorah Kula, he did the entire Torah, because we said circumcision is beneath the Torah. So the rest of the Torah is Shalamata Me'osamila. The rest of the Torah is beneath that idea of the circumcision from above. And afterwards, Zacha, he automatically merited La'osamila. He merited to have that circumcision, like the actual circumcision that happened, and also the energy of the future Mashiach time. Gedola Shulamilamala is from above. Zehu Shamar. This is what it says. Nimol Avram. It doesn't say that Abraham circumcised himself. It says in the verse that in the essence of this day, in the middle of the day of this day, this is the book of Genesis. In the middle of this day, Nimol Avram, Abraham was circumcised. It does not say that Abraham actively circumcised himself. It says that Abraham was automatically circumcised. Chulu. Where are we? Somewhere around here. Where are we? This is what it says. Nimol Avraham. Abraham circumcised. Well, Abraham was circumcised, but he did not do it himself. It doesn't say velo kisiv yamal. It does not say he circumcised. Rather, it was like Esasmo. It does not say that he's circumcised himself, even though it's implied. But it doesn't say it. Like it says Techila. Like it says first, Gabe Milas Yishmael. Regarding Ishmael, it says that Yishmael, in Hebrew, Yishmael, Mikras Kaspo, and his servants of Abraham, they circumcised, they actually circumcised themselves, which is pretty painful, I guess. But so Ishmael himself circumcised himself, and the other people that were Abraham's followers did it as well. Because the other people who circumcised themselves only reached the lesser level, which is below. Like it says in the verse of Deuteronomy, you shall circumcise your heart. But the second, meaning like you have to be the one to do it. But the second one, it says Hashem will circumcise your heart. Like Hashem will do it. But the other people, besides Abraham, they had to take the active role. Avraham, but Abraham himself, Abraham was able to access the revelation of the Creator, which says Hashem, the Creator, is the one who will circumcise your heart, which is beyond even him doing it. Okay, like it says, Lemar Nimol Avraham. That's why it says Abraham was circumcised, because it's like Hashem was the one who circumcised him. He himself didn't even circumcise himself. So this is Nimol. In the essence of this day, in the middle of this day, he was circumcised. Pirish, the atzmius shalom, in the atzmus, in the essence of the day, of this day, Yom Hazeh. V'yom Hazeh, and what does this day metaphorically refer to? Who? Hayom shekulo aruch shekulo tov chulu. That refers to the future day of the Messiah. Because when the Messiah comes, there's going to be one long day. That's an eternal daytime. The nighttime will shine like the day. That's going to be one day that's all daytime, and it's only going to be eternal goodness. So when it says in the essence of this day, it metaphorically alludes to the day, the eternal day, when the Messiah will come in this world, and it's going to be eternal daytime and goodness forever. So that's the idea of the great circumcision, which is the revelation of the Messiah and the energy that happens when Mashiach comes. So Abraham merited that messianic revelation of the energy of the Creator through the circumcision. Basically, he was able to access the energy of that day, the essence of the day, which is the day that's only one long day and one goodness. The asmius shel him so that's what this day means. This day just means the day of the Messiah, which is not just one day, but like thousands of years, which is going to be one eternal day, only goodness. But the essence of this day, Hanu Oso Hagilei Hagadol, that's going to be referred to the great revelation in that time, Shihel Lasilavu, that the great revelation that will be in the future time. Giloi Bechinas Rav Mar Tuvacha, the revelation, like it says in the book of Psalms, how great is your goodness that you have hidden for those who fear you. So the great goodness is the revelation, the great revelation that will happen when the Messiah comes. So this is Shekulo Tov. That's what it says that when the Messiah comes, it's going to be one day that's not only all day, all the time, but it's only all goodness. And then when this revelation of the essence of the day, of the eternal day of the Messiah, of the Messianic era, when that was revealed to him, then automatically, then Abraham automatically was circumcised. It doesn't say that he has to circumcise himself, but because of that revelation of Mashiach, then he himself automatically was circumcised. So this is that was pretty intense. Now let's try to find other books that maybe we could learn, because I'm a little worn out for that book. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about that book. All right, here, let's see. Actually, let's take a look at this book here. Kutei Shaykhis, it says, the book of relevance. The book of relevance, but it doesn't actually mean that. It means the book of collections of talks. This is a book from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who he himself plus like a team of people edited it, basically. It's like commentary on the Torah, essentially. So let's take a look at what it says. Yeah, this is the collection of talks. No, excuse me. All right, come back. I'm good. All right, cool. Yeah, so this is the collection of talks. It says volume 15. It's about commentary on the book of Genesis with like deeper meanings. Yeah, so written by the Rebbe of Chabad, Book of Genesis. Let's see if nice index. What should we actually do first? Okay, let's just start from the beginning. Keep on going. Here we go. So it says a quick summary. There's like a 5-line summary for what this is. So the first talk, that's the book of Genesis. It says there's 3 reasons why the Torah began with the letter Beis. In Hebrew, the first letter of Hebrew is Aleph, and the second letter is Beis. So really, the Torah should have began with the first letter, maybe, because it's like the greatest letter. But there's 3 reasons. But the Torah actually begins with the second letter of the Hebrew alphabets. So in this talk that hopefully we'll read, it says that there's 3 reasons why the Torah begins with the second letter of the alphabet, but not the first. and it talks about the deeper reasons and the connection between them and how they help people serve the Creator. So let's take a look at this. In Genesis, Bereshis. See, look, this is the first word of the Torah right here. Bereshis. But it starts with the Bays. That's it. This letter right here. Oh man, I can't even see it. This letter right there is a Bays, which is the second letter of the Torah. It could have started with the first letter of the Torah, which is an Aleph, as you can see here. That's the first letter, but the Torah actually begins with the second letter. So why does the Torah begin with the second letter? That's the trillion-dollar question that we should be asking ourselves. So let's see. So it says that this is Yiddish, which is also kind of German. So das was die Torah hört sich an mit den Ois Beis. So this fact that the Torah begins itself with the letter Beis, like it says Bereshis in Hebrew, Bereshis, in the beginning he created the heavens and the earth. But the first letter is Beis, Bereshis. In the beginning, Bara Gomer, in the beginning the Creator made the heavens and the earth. Unit mitten ois Aleph, and the Torah does not begin with the letter Aleph, which is the first letter here. It could have, which is really the first letter maybe is greater, but no, it begins with the second letter. Was is der erste Ois von Aleph Beis, and the letter Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, so maybe it's better to begin with the first. Seinen Oif dem Fern Kamabirim Mehem. There's many different explanations why the Torah begins with the second letter of the alphabet. And some of those explanations are in Yerushalmi, in the Jerusalem Talmud, it says, meaning there's different Talmuds. The Jerusalem Talmud was published in about 368 CE, approximately, in the city of Israel. It says, Shteit as Val Aleph is Lashon Rosh Tevis Arira, because the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, even though it's a holy letter, but it could also spell out the word Arira, which is curse. Un Beis, but the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Lashon Rosh Tevis Bracha. But the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet spells out the Hebrew word Bracha, which means blessing. So the first letter, even though it's a first, could spell out the word cursed, while the second letter, even though it's second, could spell the word blessed, blessed. And being blessed is a good thing. So that's one reason that the Jerusalem Talmud says, therefore, hoift sich nit an. Therefore, the Torah does not begin with the Torah. The Torah does not begin with on Aleph. The Torah does not begin with the first letter of the Aleph, nor rather mit Beis. Rather, the Torah begins with the second letter, which could spell the Hebrew word blessing. So that's one reason, because so again, the question is, why does the Torah begin with the second letter of the alphabet? It could have began with the first letter, which is Aleph, but instead it says Beis, which is the second letter. One level is because, or one reason why it's the second letter, not the first, is because the first letter could imply curse, or rira, while the second letter implies blessing, bracha, and we want to have blessings, Beis. Now, the second reason why the Torah begins with the second letter and not the first, in the Midrash, which is a different work, published around the same time as the Talmud, but slightly different. It says, here says, as the Tamuna, that the form, fun os beis, that the form of the actual letter, this is the letter beis, by the way, just that. The form of that letter, was is vermacht von drei Seiten, which is made up of three sides, as you can see here. there's three. This is the letter. There's three different lines that make up the word. So it's talking about the form of the. They're made up of three sides. Was is from, und is Apfen von der Vierter Zaphon Seite, and it's open from the left side. Wait a second. And it's wait no, and it's Apfen von der wait a second. Yeah, no, from the left side, which is so in the Torah, the top is associated with east, the bottom is west, the right is south, and the left is north. Because like we face towards the land of Israel when we're in the exile, and then the Israel is like at the top, and then when east is at the top, then north is left, and south is right. So the letter Beis has three lines, and it's open on the left side, which represents the direction of north. So that tells us something. Is Endlich zu der Welt, and that's similar to the universe. How is that? The universe is open on the north side, metaphorically. What does that mean? Welche is Bashafen, which the universe is created, Gevarn, in an Oifen, the universe is created in a way, was ira dry ruchos, which the three directions of the universe, so to speak, seinen stumos. There's like a metaphorical concept that three directions of the world, of the universe, are closed off, with geduros and fenced off, un ruach tzaphonis, but the north direction is gebleben often. But the north direction is just open infinitely. And what it actually means practically is a different question. But I mean, metaphorically, it means that there's like a certain spiritual energy associated with the three other directions, east, west, and south. And that energy is closed off. It's only like a limited amount of it, so to speak. But the north direction, which represents a different energy, is open, which is like infinite. So whatever it practically means is a different issue, but there's a certain idea that the north direction is open. And the reason why the north direction is open, Tamer vet einer kommenden in Zagen, because the reason why the north direction is open is because when someone comes along and says that I'm not sure exactly what is it's hard to understand exactly what it's talking about. If someone else would come along and say he is okay, whatever. I'm not exactly sure what it's saying. It's kind of hard to understand. But the point is that the world still needs fixing. I mean, the idea of the north direction being open, meaning like, okay, you might think the world is already finished, but no, the Creator made the world in a way that it still needs our effort. It doesn't need, I mean, it's still like should have our effort to finish it. So the north direction is still open, meaning like it's up for us to close it through returning to the Creator, I think is what it's saying, possibly. The point is, north direction is open, which represents the idea of our service still being required in the world, because like the world's not finished, it's created in a way that needs fixing, and the fixing is done from us. So a third reason why the Torah starts with this letter Beis, and not the first letter, in Kabbalah. So first we quoted from the Talmud, then we quoted from the Midrash, now we're quoting from Kabbalah. So we're getting all the different levels of Torah explanation. So in the Kabbalah, get it ready for Kabbalisticalized ideas. Vert Arum Geberet, it talks about a lot in the Kabbalah, as the Torah, the Torah, was mer learned, and the Torah that we learn, the Torah that we learn here in Olam Hazeh, in this universe, Meaning there's different kinds of Torah. There's a Torah that we learn in this universe, then there's a Torah that we learn in the spiritual universes. But there's the Torah in this universe is something. The Torah is shoin nimshach gevarn in the olamos briatzirsia. Not only spiritual universe, there's a Torah that exists beyond all universes in the infinite light of the Creator. Then there's a Torah that we learn in this universe, and by this universe it means also the spiritual universes where the souls go to in the afterlife, because those are considered like physical universes relative to the infinite light of the Creator that's beyond that. So this point is that the Torah that we learn, either in the spiritual worlds or in this physical world, is the way that the Torah has been lowered to these lower universes of this universe and the afterlife, which is also a lower universe relative to the other infinite light. Funatzilus. The Torah really started out in this world called the world of emanation, which is just a universe filled with the infinite light of the Creator and no concealments at all. So that's like the real source of the Torah, is the world of emanation. Emanation means like it's just like emanating that which was already there, as opposed to the other universes, which are the worlds of creation, which are the worlds that were created like a new thing. But the Torah really started out in the emanation of the Creator, but then it was lowered such that we could learn it. Kidu like is known, dear Pirush fun ve'al Torah secha shlimadatanu. It says, as is known regarding the explanation of the verse in the book, in the Grace After Meals, there's a certain prayer that the Jewish people say after they eat bread, and in that prayer it says we're thanking Hashem for the Torah that you have taught us. But the literal translation is we're thanking Hashem on the Torah, on your Torah that you have taught us. Meaning, what does that mean? And on your Torah, which is your Torah, which when we say your Torah that you have taught us, that refers to the Torah, minus the Torah is like it is in Atzilus. First, the Torah is your Torah, which is the Torah of the Creator, which exists in this lofty universe called Atzilus, the world of emanation, which is just the infinite light of the Creator, which in a way is as if it's like uncreated kind of thing, even though it's also created in a certain way. But it's like the emanation means like it's like a revelation of that which is already there. So it's like it's just the Creator's Torah. It's like the Creator himself, the energy of the Torah itself. So that's what it says, your Torah. But then afterwards it says that you have taught us, which refers to the Torah like it comes down into the universe of creation and formation and action, which is after the universe is created, which is a lower level. So first it says your Torah, then it says that you have taught us. So first it's your Torah in the world of emanation beyond the created universe. And then when it says you have taught it to us, that's like how the Torah has come down to be able to be learned by us in this world. So there's two levels of the Torah. One is your Torah, and the second level is the Torah that you have taught us. So I think I see where this is going now. I'm just going to guess, take a wild guess, that because the Torah that we learn is the second level of the Torah that's already been lowered down, that's why it starts with the second letter of the alphabet. Well, there's still a different level of the Torah, which is the first level of the Torah, which is your Torah, that's beyond our learning comprehension. So that's what I'm guessing it's going to say. Therefore, hoift sich an die Torah. Therefore, the Torah begins mit Beis. The Torah begins with the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet, with a Beis, to meramis sein, in order to hint to, as the Torah, that the Torah was mir lernen, that the Torah that we learn in general, both in this world and the afterlife, is, which is also a lower level, is shoin die zweite madrega in Torah. The Torah that we actually learn is actually the second level of Torah. There's actually a different Torah that we don't learn, which is the first level of the Torah, which is your Torah, the energy, infinite light of the Creator, which is not really something that we could learn. And when we say we mean even the spiritual, even like spirits and souls and angels, those are all like created beings. So anything that we actually learn is only the second thing. But the higher level of the Torah is the first thing, which is just the infinite light of the Creator, which is something that we don't learn. So that's why it starts with the second letter. As the Torah thus we're learning, the Torah that we learn is showing the Tzveite Madrega. The Torah that we learn is already the second level in Torah. But the first letter, the Erste Madrega, the first level of the Torah in Torah is Torah Shebe'atzilus, is the Torah how it exists in the universe of emanation, which is the first. But the Torah we actually learn is the second. That's why it begins with the second letter. And also, the world of emanation in Hebrew is Atzilus, with the Hebrew letter Aleph, the first letter, while the world of creation, where the Torah was taught to us, is a world of creation. In Hebrew, it's called Bria, and that Hebrew word starts with the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is the Beis. So those are three reasons why the Torah begins with the second letter as opposed to the first. Does anyone remember what they are? I do. The first reason from the Talmud is because the first letter, or the first reason why it's the second letter, not the first, is because the first letter could spell out the word arira, which means cursed. But we don't want anything to do with curses, so that's why that we start with the second letter, which could spell bracha, blessing. It's one meaning. Then a second level of meaning from the Midrash says that the form of the letter Beis in Hebrew is like it has three lines. And the left line, which left corresponds to north, if east is up, because that's towards Israel, and north is left. And it says the north side is open, which means it's not complete, which refers to another idea from the Talmud that says that the world is created with three of its directions closed off, with one direction, the north direction, so to speak, incomplete, and it's still open, and it requires our service to fix it. So that's why the Torah begins with that letter to hint to us that it's like the world is created requires our effort. I think it means like through our efforts of learning the Torah, then we can like finish that open side, I think. But then the third meaning from the Zohar says, why does it begin with the second letter as opposed to the first? Because really, there's two different levels of the Torah. One level is the Creator's Torah, which is in a greater spiritual world, just full of infinite light. That's the first level of the Torah. While the second level of the Torah, which is the Torah that we actually learn, is really a different level of the Torah. It's number 2. It's the second level. That's why it begins with the second letter. Okay, now that was all the first paragraph. Now let's get to the second paragraph of this thing about seconds. L'choira, seemingly, verdert sich hasvara. This requires an explanation. In Yadin fundi drei oiben der marente tamim. All of these three above mentioned reasons require explanation. Meaning, like, it's not enough just to take it at face value. We actually have to understand some deeper questions in this. Aleph, one question. In Ersten Tiris, in the first answer from the Talmud that says that, the letter Aleph could spell out the word cursed, but the letter Beis spells out the word bracha, blessing. And that first answer is nit movement. It's not understood. Vide Ibn Ezra fragt, like the commentary that Ibn Ezra says. Men gefind dach asach verte. We find the Talmud says, okay, the letter Aleph could spell the word cursed, so therefore we don't use it. But really, we have a lot of different words. Was hoiven sich an mitzvah Beis, which start with a Beis. We have a lot of words that start with the letter Beis. Und zij haben in sich, and they have in them dem tochen von hefech habracha. And those words that start with the second letter could also imply the opposite of blessing. And on the other side, side and far, and there are kama verter. There's a lot of many different Hebrew words, which hoiven sich an, which begin mit Aleph, with the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Was zar bodait in is tov bracha. And there's a lot of letters that begin with the first letter of the alphabet, Aleph, that do imply blessing. The Talmud says, okay, because the first letter, the Torah, arira, or could spell out the word cursed, therefore it doesn't use it. And it instead uses the word that could spell out the word bracha, blessing. But really, there's a lot of different words that start with the letter Aleph that could also imply blessing, and there's a lot of words that start with the Hebrew letter Beis that could imply not blessing. So why specifically is that a reason for the Torah to begin only with Beis? It could also start with an Aleph and imply blessing in a different word. Beis. Now, different question. In Sveitentiers, in the second answer, that says that, okay, the form of the letter Beis is open on the left side, which represents that we still have to like fix the world kind of thing. Das was Torah hat sich gedarft. This that the Torah needed to needed to begin this that the Torah needed to begin with a aleph, with an aleph. Is this dach? Therefore, this is because was azoi mant sich leuten seder von Torah. Because this is requires us according to the order of the Torah. I'm not sure what it's going to say. We'll see. Meaning, according to the order of the Torah, it's required that it does not. Wait. No, the fact that we would think that the Torah should start with the aleph, the first letter, is because this is the order of the Torah. Heos aleph is der erste os von alphabet. Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, so that's like we're going in order, kind of thing. Is das gufa a beweis? This is a lesson, as is oich der erste b'mailachlu. Not only is the letter Aleph the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, but the letter Aleph is actually the greatest letter of the Hebrew alphabet, because if it's first in the Torah, things that are first are not just first, but things that are first are the greatest of all of them. So because the letter Aleph is the first letter, it's the greatest letter. So really, the Torah should have began with the best and greatest letter. Heinz Vivald. Now, since as mitzad seder Torah, since because of the order of the Torah, hat sie sich gedarft anhoben mit an Aleph. Since really the Torah should have began with an Aleph because it's the greatest letter, is doch schwer zu sagen. It's not so smooth to say as the Torah that the Torah is mishana. Stated that the Torah really changes its intended order when sie häuft sich an mit a Beis, and it starts with the second letter. Bichtei sie soll sein zu gepasst. In order that it should be befitting zu Welt for the world. Meaning, like, really, the order of the Torah is that it should really have the first letter, which is the first letter is the greatest letter. That's what the Torah should have. So it's not such a smooth thing to say that really the Torah should change its intended order just for the sake of the world. The Torah is beyond the world. Why should the Torah need to change its intended order just for the sake of the world? Thus is the dugma to ois beis, and the universe is similar to the second letter, and the universe is closed from all three sides, similar to the letter beis, the second letter. So that's why the Torah begins with the second letter, because it refers to how the world is closed off. But why should the Torah change itself for the sake of the world, really? Die Welt is beschaffen, because the world is created, geworden, durch und zu live Torah. The world is created through and for the sake of the Torah. So, remember this all like it says, Istalko ba be'araisa vara Oma. Like the Creator looked into the Torah and created the universe. So really, the Torah should not have to do something for the sake of the world, because the world was created from the Torah. The Torah is greater than the universe. And not only was the universe created from the Torah, but the universe was created only for the sake of the Torah. He looked in the Torah and created the universe, and then it says, in the beginning he created the heavens and the earth, which means in Rashi, in the beginning means for the sake Bishvil HaTorah, he created the universe for the sake of the Torah, which is called the beginning. So when the Torah says, in the beginning, the Creator made the heavens and the earth, the word in could also be short for the Hebrew word bishvil, for the sake of. So really it means, instead of reading it, in the beginning, he created the heavens and the earth, you could read it, for the sake of the beginning, the Creator made the heavens and the earth. And this idea of the beginning metaphorically refers to the Torah, which is called the beginning in a different verse, which says the Torah is the beginning of his way. So, for the sake of the beginning, which is the Torah, that did Hashem create the heavens and the earth. So the heavens and the earth are created for the sake of the Torah. So, unitz lahefech chas v'shalom. And the Torah was not created for the sake of the world. Chas v'shalom. So, the Torah should not have to change itself for the sake of something in the world, because the Torah is that which makes the world from nothing, and everything in the world only exists for the sake of the Torah. So why does the Talmud say, oh, okay, for the sake, in order to allude to the fact that the world is open on three sides, then the Torah starts with the second letter, even though it should have started with the first. It's kind of not so smooth. And the third reading, which was that really the Torah that we learn is the second Torah, while there's still a different first level of the Torah that's in the universe of the Creator's energy. That's what the Zohar said or the Kabbalah in Dritin Teres. In the third answer, Mer Zagin, we say, Dach v'nasan lanu es Torah so. It says, the Creator gave us His Torah. Der hat uns gegeben sein Torah. The Creator gave to us His Torah. Meaning, earlier we were trying to bring a proof of saying, okay, we say in the blessing after eating bread, we say, we're thanking you for your Torah that you have taught us, which implies two different things. First, there's your Torah, which is in the world of emanation, a higher level. And after, there's your Torah, which is the first thing. Then you've taught us, which implies that there's a second level of Torah that you've taught us. But now, we're saying, in different blessings, we say that we thank the Creator for giving us His Torah. So not only are we learning some other Torah, we're learning the actual Torah. That's the first level of the Torah, which is we're learning the Torah that we learn is actually the Creator's Torah. It's the same thing. So, the Torah that we actually have is His Torah. Hatz uns, he had abgegeben dalamata. The Creator had given His Torah, which is beyond the universe, to us below. It says the Torah came before the universe, and it says that before, like it says in Kabbalah, that this is from the Ramban, that before the Torah was given, the Torah was written with black fire on white fire, and then Moshe, as a scribe, copied that black fire that existed before, and he pasted it onto the physical parchment, the original copy-paste. So the point is that the Torah existed before the universe in the black fire and white fire. But when Moshe wrote the Torah, he did not write a different Torah. He just was copying from the black fire written on the white fire. So it's just, the Torah that we have is the same Torah that is the Creator's Torah that existed before. Uvmei, that automatically is fugt v'di Torah by ons, just like the Torah by us. Azoi hayv tzich an oich di Torah shbasilas mit bereishis baruch gubar. Just like the Torah that we learn starts with the second letter, it says at the beginning He created. So too, it must be that the Creator's Torah, which our Torah was copied from, must also begin with the same words, which implies that even the Creator's Torah begins with the second letter of the Torah. Mitzvah is with the second letter. Un nitz nar, not only Torah, not only the Torah that's in the world of emanation, nar oich hecher, rather even beyond this spiritual world of emanation, which is beyond the created world, there's also other universes beyond that where the Torah exists on a higher level. Vu Nars is his Shaykh Abachina von Osios. Wherever even in the highest possible level that we could have letters, even like very sublime letters, but still heute sich dort on Torah mit der Beis. Even in the highest possible sublime level of the Torah, even beyond the original Torah that was from the world of emanation, there's like different levels of the Torah which are more sublime, but there's still some kind of idea of letters. However much whenever we could have an idea of letters, then that Torah also began with the second letter, because it's the same Torah that we have. Bleibt doch weiter die Kasha. So the question still remains: For was häuft sich an Torah shebeat silus? Why does the Torah of the Creator in the world of emanation begin unar hecher, and not only in the world of emanation, but even beyond that world, in more sublime levels of existence, mitzvah beis? Why does our Torah begin with the beis, because it's the second letter? Why do even the more sublime Torahs begin with the second letter? Okay. Now, with the third paragraph. So, nacha fella in dem inyan. Another wondrous question in this whole idea that we have. Fundi alle oben der Mante birim. From all of these above mentioned explanations, it comes out as the Torah darf sich anhaben davke mit der Beis. That really, if not for these reasons, the Torah should have and needs to begin with the second Okay, no. From all these other reasons, the end result is that the Torah needs to begin with the beis, with the second letter, and not with the letter aleph, the first letter. Der Zelt aber die Gemara, but that's what it implies in these things we just said. But the Talmud somewhere else says something else. As wenn die Zikanim haben übergegezt die Torah for Talmei HaMelech, that when the elders wrote the Torah for the Greek king Ptolemy, basically there's this thing called the Septuagint. You may have heard of it, which was essentially when the evil Greek king named Ptolemy forced a bunch of rabbis. It wasn't like truly forcing them, but it was still not exactly. It wasn't just asking politely. Let's put it that way. He greatly encouraged a lot of rabbis to write a translation of the Torah for him into Greek. And when they wrote it into Greek, the Torah that they wrote, the translation started with the first letter of the Greek alphabet, even though our Torah starts with the second. Let's see. So when these elders would write the Torah for the Greek king Ptolemy, says the Creator inspired each and every one of them, meaning each of these elders wrote the Torah translation independently of the other. They did not see each other and ask for advice. Rather, each of them just wrote it based on their own divine inspiration. But it says that the Creator inspired each and every one of them. They should all think at the same time in Zar Targum, in their translation, Oifen Zelben Oifen. They should all think and translate the Torah in the exact same way, even though it's even though each of them are writing it differently and they don't see each other, but they should all write it miraculously in the same way. Und haben übergegessen den Pasuk, and they had translated the verse. It says in the beginning He created Bereshit bara Elokim Gomor funkt wie es Welt gestanden Elokim bara Bereshit. They wrote when they translated the Torah, they did not say in the beginning Hashem created. They changed the order and they said really Hashem created in the beginning, because in Greek, if you would say in the beginning Hashem created, you would or first of all, in Hebrew the actual literal translation is in the beginning created Hashem. That's how you actually that's the order of the words in the Torah, you have the verb before the noun. So if they would have written in Greek, in the beginning created Hashem, then they would think that there's something else called the beginning that created Hashem. But that's not good. So instead they changed it. They said that Hashem created in the beginning. And since that sorry. It's good. That since that from above the Creator inspired these rabbis from above prophetically to translate the Torah with the letter Aleph in the beginning, where it says Elohim, which is the name of the Creator, created in the beginning, that started with an Aleph, the first letter. So the Creator inspired them to do that. With an Aleph, with the first letter, the Creator inspired these rabbis to translate it with the first letter as the beginning of the Torah, which is Elohim, the name of the Creator. The Creator inspired them to write that. As is da agar starka savara. So based on that, there's an even more of a reason for us to say that the Torah should have began with the Torah really should have begun with the letter Aleph, because the Creator inspired these people to translate it such that it should start with an Aleph in Greek. I assume Aleph meaning like the Greek equivalent of Aleph, because it wasn't actually. Yeah, basically. And when Allah has and all these other reasons for thinking that it should start with the Beis, so all these other reasons that we said of why the Torah should begin with the second letter, those did not apply to those reasons would not have affected Talmai the king, and the Creator instead inspired each and every one to translate it differently. So that basically we're saying that all these other reasons for why the Torah says it should begin with Beis, it must be that they're not so important, because if they were actually so important, then the Creator would not have inspired all the rabbis to write differently in the translation. Maybe they're important enough for Ptolemy, the Greek king, to know. But no, apparently these reasons are not enough. The reasons would not have made a difference for the Greek king Ptolemy's understanding. So that's like another question of why do we have these reasons, essentially. Oh, and another thing. Das Gufa is Dach Tamia Kitol Biosa. This itself is a great question. It's Zainen da Torah. It says in the Torah, it says in the Torah of truth. A lot of reasons of Haschalas Torah nit mit an Aleph. It says in the Torah also a lot of other reasons for why the Torah does not begin with an Aleph. And none of those other reasons would have made a difference for the Greek king Ptolemy. So there's something going on, because there's a lot of reasons to say that the Torah should not have begun with an Aleph, but it clearly did miraculously when they translated it for the Greek king. So there's something about the Torah beginning with the Beis that we should understand. So let's go on. Der Birendem is the explanation of this, why the Torah begins with the Beis, and after all this stuff. Oifen Pasuk, on the verse, it says, Alma Avdar, on what was the land lost? I guess the land of Israel, I'm implying, during the exile. Al Azva Mestrasi, because they abandoned my Torah. Zakin Chazal, the rabbis say, as Vas meint Azva Mestrasi. What does it mean when it says they abandoned my Torah? Shelo Baruchu b'Torah Techila. That the Jewish people in the times of the first temple, they did not say the blessing of the Torah first. They learned the Torah without recognizing it as a Torah of the Creator, of the my Torah. It says, "Is mevar dem Beis Chaim." It says in one of the commentaries, one was in Rabbeinu Yonah. It's also hinted as Kash Zai haven't gelernt asach Torah. The people in the times of the first temple, they learned a lot of Torah. They learned the Torah, but they did not recognize it was from the Creator. Hatz bei Zai aber gefällt die Kavana lehisatzem ulhistabek b'kedushas avruchnes Torah l'hamshich v'shikhnechlu. So they learned a lot of the Torah. They learned the knowledge of the Torah, but they did not. But they did not. It says they did not focus and cleave themselves with the holiness and the spirituality of the Torah, in order to draw down into the Torah the divine energy of the Creator. So there's learning the Torah intellectually is one thing, but the main thing is to cleave oneself to the Torah and draw down the Creator's energy into the Torah, which is a more spiritual pursuit. So they did not do that, which is the counter to the blessings. Und das is der Pirush von Avdahar. This is what it means that the land was lost during the exile. Kilomar says, Nechrava Nishra Chumreha Mibli over Sham Kedushas Shechina. This is talking about when the land of Israel was exiled, basically in the times of the temple. It says, because when the land was lost, then like all the inhabitants of the land were left, and only the physicality of the land remained. And that's because when the people were learning the Torah, it's like they were only learning the external shell of the Torah, but they were missing out on the deeper spirituality that lie within. This means as in Torah seinen Fahren zwei. There's two ideas in Torah. Der Limud Torah, the learning of the Torah with understanding and intellect, is one idea. But a second idea of the Torah, which is number 2, is the clinging oneself and the unification that one has with the one who gives the Torah. And this is the holiness of the Torah and the essence of the Torah, which is beyond intellect. So the first idea of the Torah is learning the Torah intellectually and properly understanding it. But the second idea of the Torah is to connect oneself to the giver of the Torah, the Creator, and to unite oneself to the spirituality of the Torah, which is a whole different, which is the number 2. And the order in this is as before learning Torah, before we understand the Torah, and we need to give ourselves over and cling ourselves to the essence of the Torah, which is beyond intellect. Like it says in the Talmud, the reason why the land was lost is because they did not say the blessing of the Torah before they learned it. And afterwards, after we cling ourselves to the spirituality of the Torah through the blessings of the Torah and the giver of the Torah, then only afterwards we have learning of the Torah with understanding. So the first thing that should come first is to connect ourselves with the giver of the Torah, and only afterwards do we understand it. And this is also the explanation in a simply why the Torah begins with a second letter of the Hebrew alphabet and not with the first letter, because the first letter refers to this, that comes first. The first letter, the letter Aleph, refers to that which comes first, and the letter Beis, the second letter, refers to that which comes second. This which a Jew, a Yid, learns and continues to learn in the Torah is thus showing this is already the second thing of the Torah. The fact that someone is coming along and learning the Torah and understanding it, that's already the second part of the Torah. That's already the letter Beis of the Torah, because that's already the second stage of what someone has to do, the second idea which is in the Torah. But the first idea of the Torah is the Aleph of the Torah, which is the first letter of the Torah, is connecting oneself with the giver of the Torah, which is beyond understanding and grasping, beyond letters entirely, which and that idea of connecting oneself to the giver of the Torah, which is beyond letters entirely, that needs to be before the beginning. When it says in the Torah, in the beginning, He created the heavens and the earth. But even before the beginning is the Creator, which is the giver of the Torah. Beyond it, so and the Creator, and uniting oneself with the essence of the Creator, which is the giver of the Torah. That's a preparation for learning the Torah. So this is pretty deep. So so the idea of the Aleph, of the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, is actually the beginning of the Torah. But it's not the beginning of the Torah that we learn. The idea of the Torah that we learn is learning the Torah. It doesn't mean that there's a difference between the Torah in like the world of emanation or the other worlds that have more sublime spiritual letters. It's the same content of the letters. But whenever we have letters at all, which implies that it's possible to learn it, even the most sublime letters, those letters are already the second thing. But the first thing that's even beyond letters entirely is the Creator, which is beyond anything, even beyond the letters. The first thing is connecting ourselves to the Creator and the spirituality of the Torah, which is while the second thing is when it comes to the letters of the Torah. And therefore all of the levels of the Torah that we have, even like the most sublime levels, even the Torah that's in the world of emanation, and even higher than that, they all begin with the second letter. Because in every one of those levels of the Torah, now it's actually saying something else that I thought. Because really, in every one of the levels of the Torah that begins with the second letter, there's really two levels. There's the Torah like it is revealed according to the vessels and the letters of that world. And the second thing is which is really the first thing, is the giver of the Torah, which is beyond letters. So even though all the different levels of the Torah, even in other worlds, begin with the second letter, but really that's just when it comes to the letter aspect of that. But each of those levels also has a deeper level, which is the first part of it, which is the giver of the Torah beyond letters entirely. As it's mentioned many times, all the explanations on the same word or idea have a relationship to it. In the Torah, there's a lot of different explanations for things. One explanation is different than the other, but all of the explanations are related to each other, and they're all similar to each other. So too, we can also say, in our case, that the three above mentioned reasons and explanations are all stemming from one generalized point, from the explanation of from the simple explanation that we just said, which is that the first thing is the creator beyond letters, and then the second thing is the letters. And all of the other explanations we had all stem from that same reason, that the aleph of Torah is, meaning the first part of any level of Torah, is the connecting oneself and uniting oneself with the level which is higher than understanding. And the learning of the Torah with understanding is already the second thing, the base of the Torah. That's the simple explanation. And this general point and explanation expresses itself in three specific ways in the Torah and the Torah's effect. Thus, Zayin, which they are merumiz, these three things are hinted to in Didrei Biurim and Zikarim. These three effects that the Torah has and three details of the Torah are hinted to in these other three reasons we had above. Aleph, one reason, B'nogea to Torah Gufa. Regarding the Torah itself, the Pirush from Kabbalah, the explanation of the Kabbalah as Aleph from Torah, that the Aleph of the Torah is Torah Shebetzilus, that the first part of the Torah is the Torah that's in the world of Etzilus, when Beis, and the second part of the Torah is the Torah Shebebriya, is the Torah that's in the world of creation. Okay, we're going to elaborate on that in a second, but we're going to get back to that. And Beis, the second detail of that general point, is also in the explanation of the Pe'ula in Dem Adam. So the first thing is talking about the Torah itself, that the Torah itself is divided into two parts, the Torah in Etzilus and the Torah in the world of creation, but we're going to get back to that. And then the second idea is not with the Torah itself, but it's the effect that the Torah has in Dem Adam, in the person who learns the Torah. Through this, which he hears, understands, as the Havana, that the understanding of the Torah is only the second thing of the Torah. Then, when he learns Torah in a way of Beis, which has the same letter meaning of bracha as a blessing, and not in a way of Aleph, which can imply curse. Well, no, this was the first explanation. Okay. Okay, so again, so just to clarify, so the first level is we're saying that this explanation we had about the first thing being Hashem and the second thing being like the understanding, that means that the first idea is that the Torah itself is, so to speak, divided into these two ideas. While the second thing we're saying is that the way a person approaches Torah is divided into two things. It says when someone recognizes that Hashem is first, then the Torah becomes a blessing, becomes a bracha with the letter Beis. And if someone chas v'shalom does not recognize the first thing, but rather they think that the Torah is the first thing, then that becomes the arira with a curse, chas v'shalom. So the point is that when we recognize the Creator is the first and not the understanding, then our understanding becomes a blessing. Now the third thing it's going to say is the effect that the Torah has in the world outside of us. When we learn Torah, in the proper way of recognizing that the proper way means that we first have the aleph of the Torah is then we and then afterwards we have the understanding. Then we fix the north direction in the world. We fix the rest of the world is the point, and that's hinted to in the letter Bays as well. So again, the Torah itself is divided into two things: the giver of the Torah aspect and the letters of the Torah. Number two, the effect that the Torah has on the person learning Torah is that when they recognize the one, that the first thing is the Creator, and the second thing is our understanding, then they will learn Torah in a way of a blessing, a bracha, as opposed to a curse, chas shalom. And the third thing is the effect that the Torah has on the world. When we learn the Torah properly, then the Torah also fixes the world, which was the other thing we talked about the shape of the letter Bays being from three sides, basically. So, yeah. Let's see if we have some light here. So yeah, cool. So now let's get back to elaborating on the fact that the Torah is divided into two parts of the giver of the Torah and the letters of the Torah. When we said that the Torah itself is divided in two parts, it's better to elaborate on that. Let me just try turning on these lights. Nice. Yeah, so it says, when we learn the Torah, when we learn let's see, what does it say? The time that we learned Torah if someone were to learn Torah without giving oneself over to the giver of the Torah, then the Torah which we learned is like separated, God forbid, from the godly energy, to the point biz as until that is zaken, therefore that it could be from that it could come out a yanika lechitzonim, then that could chas v'shalom be giving power to the evil forces of the world. Chulu. When das is nermez, and this is hinted to in this, was the Rosh Tevis von Bereshis. This is hinted to in this, which the first letters of the word Bereshis, or the first letter of the word Bereshis, is a Moira al Torah Bria. But the first letter of the word in the beginning, which is where the Torah starts with, hints to the Torah that's in the universe of creation, which is called the world of Bria in Hebrew, which also starts with the letter Beis. So why is that? Thus, in Olam HaBria, in the world of creation, in the world of Bria in Hebrew, is the Haschala von dem Inyan HaPirud. That's the beginning of the idea of separation, the possibility of separation. Moshiach Now says, like it says, there's a river. It says there's a river that flows from Eden to water the garden. And then it says at a certain point, it's one river, but then afterwards, it gets separated into 4 rivers. So that river also metaphorically alludes to a spiritual energy of the Creator that's like a river that gives life to things. The point is that energy of the Creator starts out as one, and then when it gets to a certain point, which is called the world of creation, the world of Bria, then that energy splits off into different paths to give creation to different things. So the point is that in the universe of creation in Kabbalah, of Bria, that's the beginning of where this energy, metaphoricalized as a river, starts to split up. And it used to be from one, but then it goes into other rivers, which implies separation. So the point is that the idea we said earlier from Kabbalah that the Torah starts with the second letter as opposed to the first, because the first letter is the idea of the world of emanation, which is the world where this river, where the energy of the Creator is all in one. And that the name of that world in Kabbalah starts with the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is the Aleph, a one, and that's Atzilus, Aleph, same word. So that's the first world where everything is one, is where it starts with. But then afterwards, there's a second. That's the idea of the giver of the Torah aspect. Then the second aspect is the aspect of the Torah that we learn, and that aspect, the part of the that begins with the letter Beis, with the second letter of the Torah, and that is alluded to in the world of creation, which in Hebrew is Bria, creation, and that word Bria starts with a Beis as well. So that says that if someone were to learn the Torah without keeping in mind the giver of the Torah, then it's possible to give energy to the separated forces of the world, which begin from the Kabbalistic universe called Bria, which is a Beis. And that's why, according to the Kabbalah reason, that the Torah begins with a Beis to allude to the world of Bria, of the world of creation. But Masha Inke Benatso, when learning of the Torah is mit der Kagdama, when learning of the Torah is with the preface of blessing, saying the blessing in the Torah first. There's a certain blessing that Jews are supposed to say before learning the Torah. So when they say it with the blessing first, and the idea of the blessing is to connect oneself with the giver of the Torah and the spirituality of the Torah, and not just the understanding of it. When that happens first, then is the gelernt Torah. Then one learns Torah vereinzigt betachlis. One learns Torah in a way that's completely connected with the giver of the Torah. Then if someone first connects themselves to the giver of the Torah through the blessing, then even afterwards, one is completely connected to the giver of the Torah, even after, as they learn it. Similar to how Atzilus, the world of emanation, is Olam Ha'achdus, similar to how the world of Atzilus, of emanation, is the world of unification, where all the energy is one before it gets separated. That world is a world where it says if godliness is the simple thing and existence is some novel idea. In this world that we live in, basically, the existence that we see, people assume that it's real. We just assume simply that the experiences that we have, the things that we can see and feel, are like the real thing. It's just so obvious that it's real. And when it comes to thinking about a creator, is there a creator, not creator, maybe something that's like way beyond the world, like the world, we know that we're in the world, we know that we exist, but then the creator is like, something beyond the world that doesn't really fit. But no, it's really the opposite. Really, everything starts out in a state of unity in the world of Atzilus. That's the default state, is the ultimate unification of everything without any separate existence, and it's just one essential essence. And the fact that there could be separation, that's already some big novel idea. Like, once you're already from the perspective of the world of Atzilus, of emanation, then it's obvious that everything is just one unification of the Creator. And in order to say that there's a world around us that we observe, it doesn't really make any sense. It's kind of like some novel thing. So that's essentially what it's saying here, that it says, if one were to learn the Torah without thinking about the giver of the Torah, then it's like they're learning the Torah in the world of separation, where they think the world is real and the godliness is not. But when they say the blessing of the Torah first, then they connect themselves with the world of unity, where in that world, it's just obvious that the Creator is everywhere. And the idea of separation it's not even logical. So that's the idea of connecting with the Creator first by saying the blessing of the Torah first. That's according to the Kabbalah. Now we're going to the other reason, for a different reason. So the Chazal, the rabbis, Zagin say, Zacha, if someone merits Nasis Lo, the Torah becomes for him a psalm, a potion of Chaim, of life. But Lo Zacha, if someone does not merit Nasis Lo, then the Torah becomes for him a psalm, Hamat Misa, a potion of the opposite of life. And das is der Inyan, and this is the idea von Beis. This is the idea of the second letter of the Torah, the letter Beis, Lashon Bracha, and the letter Beis in Hebrew has the same language as the letter blessing. Un Aleph Lashon Arira, and the letter Aleph, the first letter is the letter, could mean curse. Then der Limud Torah, when learning Torah, Funim Adam, when the learning of the Torah of a person is in an oifen fun zacha, when a person learns Torah in a way that they merit, which is when they connect themselves in a reinem oifen, in a meritorious way, as, which means, what does that mean? As freer, that prior der hert, that prior to learning the Torah, he understands the kedusha as the Torah. He grasps the holiness of the Torah. This is by him, der Aleph. Then the holiness of the Torah is the Aleph, is the first thing from Torah of the Torah, is da. Then it happens there, der Beis, bracha. When we have the first thing being the spirituality of the Torah, then automatically we have the blessing, and the blessing starts with the Beis, the second letter. Nasis Lo Sam Chaim, which is the blessing, is the idea of the potion of life. When we have the first thing being the Creator and the spirituality of the Torah, then automatically we have the blessing, which starts with the second letter, essentially. B'shas, the time of, if someone is lo zacher, if someone is not meriting chas shalom, as the tavana, which means that the understanding, the hasaga, and the grasping from Torah of the Torah is by him, der Aleph. If someone first thinks the first thing to do is to understand the Torah, and that's the first thing from Torah, when it's felt at the bechina von zacher, then he lacks the level of being meritorious. Chas shalom. With kedushas the Torah, and he lacks the holiness of the Torah. Der emeser Aleph Torah, and that the holiness of the Torah is the real beginning, the first thing of the Torah. But if someone else thinks that the understanding of the Torah is the first thing, then it's like they're overlooking the true first part of the Torah, which is the creative. So done vert then that could happen, God forbid, Aleph Lashon Arira, then you could have the Aleph, which has the same word as the word curse, Chas v'shalom Nasis Lo Sam Misa, that's what it says in the Talmud. That's like a potion of death, Chas shalom. So that's like, but if someone did not recognize the Creator as the first thing, they thought that understanding is the first thing. But so we have to understand that the first thing is the Creator, and the second thing only is understanding, and that's when we can have the blessing, which starts with the letter Beis. Now the third idea we're going to talk about is the effect the Torah has on the world around us. It's not just something, the Torah is not just something that helps us. The Torah helps the world. in general. Kedeyas Torah zal oifton, in order that the Torah should affect in the Welt, in the world, is all der Herren, we should know, understand, as yesh balabais labirazo. We should understand that there's a master to this palace of the world. Is ven midarhert. When we understand, when we felt in der Torah, when we understand and when we feel in the Torah, must be learned dem nos in the Torah, that when as we're learning the Torah, we could feel and comprehend, so to speak, the giver of the Torah. Und das is der Inyan von Soras aus Beis, and this is the idea from the form of the letter Beis. Was is Bedoma, which the letter Beis is similar to der Welt, to the universe. Was Tumami Gimel Seruchoseha. The universe is closed off from three of its sides, as we said earlier, from west, south, and east. But the north direction is open. The other directions are metaphorically closed, but the north direction is open, which means the world still needs fixing, kind of thing. The time when we have Havana understanding from Torah of the Torah is by him. Then we have der Beis from Torah. Then we have the letter Beis of the Torah. Why is that? Val. By him, der hört sich an. Then we feel as der Aleph from Torah is der Nosen Torah. Then we realize that the first thing in Torah, the giver Torah, when that happens, done is das Besakin und Meshlim in the Welt. Then we fix the idea that the world is open on the north side. We said earlier that the world is closed on three sides, three directions, but open on the north side in order to hint to us that it's still, we have part of a job to finish fixing the world. So when we recognize the creator of the Torah in our understanding, then that gives us the ability to fix the world, basically. And that's the other explanation we had earlier. Was is Nehemiah in those, but that's all hinted to in the Hebrew letter Beis. Okay, last section, almost. I'll be on according to everything we mentioned earlier. Vitamin euch verstehen. We can also understand dem Tam for us, the reason which diese Kenim, which the elders haben for Talmud HaMelech übergesagt. The elders, when they were translating the Septuagint, they would translate the Torah in Anofen. They would translate the Torah equal to a way. Gleich wie die Torah heute sich an mit an Aleph. They translated the Torah that in a way that it would have started with an Aleph when they translated it for the Greek king Ptolemy with the Septuagint. Even though the Torah really starts with the Beis, because the first thing is the creator and the second thing is understanding. But when it came to the Greek king, it's different. Val kol hanizkol, all the above things, that learning with understanding is their Beis von Torah. That learning with understanding is only the second thing, but the first thing is recognizing the creator. Like we said, is shaykh nar by yidin. That idea of recognizing the creator first is only relevant to have by Jews, when nit by Mosolam, and not by the nations of the world, which was the Greek king. The din is, the law is as akum sha'osik Torah chayav, that a non-Jew who is engaged in Torah is obligated for the death penalty. As an enu Yehudi tarnit learning Torah l'shem limud Torah atzma. Like a non-Jew is not allowed to learn Torah just for the sake of learning Torah itself. Ir magnar learning Torah, he can only learn the Torah if this is im nogea zu wissen wie die soll zu bekommen sei die Shemosach. A non-Jew is not supposed to learn Torah for the sake of learning Torah. They're supposed to only learn parts of the Torah that would help them fulfill the 7 commandments of Noah, because all the Gentiles are commanded to fulfill 7 commandments since the times of Noah. And it again reaffirmed in the times of Moses at Mount Sinai. So that is essentially the parts of the Torah that Gentiles should learn. Evolved as their limited Torah, because since learning Torah by the nations is in order to know that the law, the action that should be done, is movement is understood as shaykhus, that the non-Jews have a relationship. The non-Jews can only be related to the understanding of the Torah. Aber nicht zum Etzim Torah, not to the essence of the Torah, which is beyond understanding. Was kommt durch Gebarge Torah Techilov. The essence of the Torah can only be attained through saying the blessing of the Torah first, that only the Jews do, but the other non-Jews, they could just learn the understanding of the Torah. This is that when the Creator chose the Jewish nation from all of the other nations, then He gave us His Torah. The idea of His Torah means the essence of the Torah, meaning there could be the idea of the Torah that's just understanding, which is one thing. But when I say His Torah that the Creator gave us, that's referring to the essence of the Torah that only the Jewish people could have a relationship to because they're chosen. But the other nations could learn parts of the Torah that are relevant for them to be able to fulfill the 7 commandments of Noah. But the idea of blessing, saying the blessing of the Torah first, to connect to the spirituality of the Torah, the giver of the Torah, that's something only the Jews could do. So when the rabbis were writing the Septuagint for the Greek king Ptolemy and the other nations to learn it, they did not include this idea of the Torah beginning with the second letter because the first thing is really the Creator. No, they put the first thing, the Torah, beginning with the Aleph, because for the nations of the world learning it, understanding is the first thing. They don't really have to know about the spirituality part of the Creator. And therefore, Pashasti is a kingdom in the time that the elders have in Masarkim Gevedi Torah, that they translated the Torah, or Talmud for the Greek king, they had translated different things of the Torah in they translated the Torah in a way that was more relevant for the non-Jews at the time. Is ois gekommen wie is wat gestanden Elokim barabrishis. So the way that the Torah relates to the nations of the world really should begin with Elokim, with the created in the beginning, with the word Elokim being first. As es häuft sich an mit an Aleph, that the Torah for the Gentiles begins with the first letter. Well, by because by the nations of the world is Havana Vahasaga, then the idea of understanding is nit kein zweite Sach nar die erste Sach. By the nations of the world, understanding the Torah is not a second thing, but that's just the first thing. By the Jews, understanding the Torah is the second thing, because the first thing is knowing the Creator of the Torah and the spirituality of the Torah. But for the non-Jews, just understanding itself is already the first thing. Parshas Bereshis, the passage of Genesis, the first beginning of Genesis, Bereshis. It begins to learn Simchas Torah. It begins during the Jewish holiday called Simchas Torah, where the Jewish people everywhere finish reading the entire Torah and they start over from the beginning. Is der Inyan verbunden mit dem was is this idea of the happiness of the Torah holiday, where the Jews finish the Torah and start reading again, is related to this idea of saying the Torah, the blessings of the Torah first to connect to the Creator, and afterwards understanding it. Simchas Torah tanzt men. In the happiness of the Torah, we dance mit der Torah. We dance with the Torah. was davke durch die kudim, specifically through dancing. Bergalim, with feet and feet, nemtamin dem etzem from Torah. We take the essence of the Torah. Usually when we just learn the Torah, we're not getting the essence of the Torah, unless we say the blessings before. But it's just like the intellectual part of the Torah. But when we dance with the Torah on the Jewish holiday of Simchas Torah, then we take the essence of the Torah. Wie das steht in Zohar, like it says in the Zohar, as v'nohagin lemabed Yisrael ima chedva is kriyas simchas Torah mavchin such Torah because of the that the Jewish people have, in the Zohar says, have accustomed to make with the Torah a great happiness, and it's called the happiness of the Torah, and we crown the Torah with a crown. What does this mean, practically speaking? With its crown. This means die erste, or die Simcha von Torah, the happiness of the Simchas Torah holiday is verbunden, is connected with this fact that was matrin l'sefer Torah because of the happiness of the Torah, that we dance with the Torah, is because we're crowning the Torah with the crown of the Torah. Was keser is l'mayla meharosh, and a crown is beyond, on top of a head. This is der Inyan von Samshachas ein Sof b'Torah. So the idea of dancing with the Torah, which causes the crown of the Torah to be on the Torah, is the idea of drawing down the infinite onto the Torah, which is beyond intellect, because the crown is above the head. Therefore, Bund von Torah, the connection with the Torah, the connection of the Torah and with the Jewish people with the giver of the Torah. That's the idea of the happiness of the Torah when we dance with the Torah. And through that, through the prefacing with, learning the Torah with the happiness and the drawing down the energy into the Torah, then afterwards we can intake from Simchas Torah Gufa, even in those same days of the happiness of the Torah, and afterwards as well. On Hubin mit der Kriya, then we begin reading the Torah, when Limud von Bereshis, and learning the first part of the Torah. Was häuft sich an mit der Beis, and the beginning of the Torah begins with the Beis. Und as men hert, then we understand as der ganze Limud in Torah is der zweite Ideen von Torah. We understand that the entire idea of Torah is only the second idea of the Torah. Die Haschala von Torah, the beginning of the Torah, is the Ebergabenkeit von the Torah. Then we connect ourselves to give the Torah. Well, I guess that was pretty intense live. I'm not sure anyone else is watching now, but thanks for sticking in it all the way through, if you actually did. And I'll see you.